Hey, and welcome back. So, as we continue to dive down this list, this framework, we're almost to the end of the framework. We have a lot more in terms of the application of the framework. But before we get into more of the application, and not just the application of what do these things mean, but like how can we leverage these in other parts of our job as product managers, we need to understand the outcomes we're driving towards. Okay. So if we look here, the expected outcomes really comes down to what do we expect the outcomes of the above initiatives to be, and do they align with the overarching goal? If you aren't clear on what success looks like, then you'll probably never find it because you don't know what to measure against. All right. So for me, in path to product, the outcomes that I need to be successful, if I'm going to say this was a successful effort, if this was a successful strategy phase, right? I need to know how aspiring PMs are attempting to land jobs today. Kind of like I mentioned earlier, a deep understanding of their challenge, but also the bright spots. What are they doing that's making them successful? And I need insights on what recruiters screen for in their process. If I don't understand their process and how they make selections for candidates to bring into interviews, how can I help aspiring PMs be successful? I can't. And then if I don't understand what hiring managers look for in a similar way, I can't help aspiring PMs be successful in developing the right skills that'll resonate. And that's way before we understand how we actually create a credible alternative. I just need to know what is the content of that alternative and what should that look like. And then lastly, I need to understand what expectations product leaders have for those junior PMs. So I mentioned this in the last video, but like I wasn't even reading off of this just because it's so ingrained in my head, because this is what I worked on about a year ago when I was in the prep stages of launching, right? So as we sit, it is May 2021. I launched Path to Product in December of 2020. I started the research on this time last year in May of 2020. And so it took me a while to uncover these insights. And so when you talk about strategy, some people will say, a year is a good time box for strategy, or they use the calendar in some way. I don't really agree with that, right? I'll get into this a little more when we go through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and like how strategy can be broken out into phases. But if you're clear on your mission and your vision, don't time box yourself to 6 months, a quarter, or a year. If you know what your goal is and what your challenge is to overcoming it, then how can you get to phase 2 or phase 3, or move from saying, oh, now it's 2022, we need a new strategy, if you haven't accomplished what you originally set out to accomplish? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I'll also touch on this in the road mapping portion. I have a lot of strong opinions on time boxing things arbitrarily. So we'll get into that more. But the point here to finish up is that once you have those coherent actions or those initiatives, you need to be clear on what success looks like. And that's really through outcomes. Outcomes could be behavioral change, right? There's a great book called Outcomes Over Outputs. And it's really all about what is the behavior that we're trying to change, because behavior, whether it's how do we get people to pay more, you adopt this feature, or come to our website, right? Those are all behavioral based things that you can measure. And so outcomes have to be measurable. And most of the time it has to do with behavior, right? So behavior, how do aspiring PMs attempt to land jobs today? Those are behaviors that are happening. The challenges, right? Those are outcomes of the behaviors, and understanding what behaviors create what challenges, right? The process for how recruiters screen, that's a behavior. That's a thing that they go through behaviorally, right? And then hiring managers, as they're vetting candidates, that's a behavior. And then the expectations that they have, that's not, I guess, so much of a behavior, but that's more of a byproduct of behaviors that they expect. So what behaviors should you be able to be successful at in your role as a PM, even if it's your first time doing it, right? So when we talk about outcomes, it has to be measurable, and it's usually behavior based or an outcome of a behavior. So with that, we're going to get into roadmaps, okay? Because what I love about this framework is how the coherent actions really help make road mapping super, super simple. And then you can go back and say, okay, well, here's where we're at on our roadmap. And here's how this goes back to our product strategy. And here's how the product strategy aligns to our goal and our mission. And it makes having those internal conversations with stakeholders, which we'll get to in a little more detail later. It makes those conversations a lot easier, and it gives you a ton of credibility. Like, I've been having a lot of these conversations lately with a lot of new members on our team, which I am one, frankly, in my day job. And this framework resonates across departments, up and down the org chart. And I'm telling you, if you put this into practice and you give real thought to this, it's going to change the trajectory of your career just based on the amount of credibility it gives you in your role. So I'm super excited that you've chosen to invest a little bit of time and a little bit of money into this, because I guarantee you it will pay dividends in the long run. So that's expected outcomes. We're going to move on into roadmaps and how all of this translates into the things that you're going to be doing and judged by as a PM. See you there.